Hey maker, if you've ever tried to light a big product setup, especially when it's too far from a window, you already know it's not as simple as just use natural light. Dark corners, harsh shadows, and dull photos happen when you don't know how to modify the light you do have. In this video, I'll walk you through exactly how I lit this nursery wall sign setup, even though it's oversized and not placed right up next to the window. And if you're watching this as part of my start to finish series on how I styled and shot this nursery photo, you can click right up here or use the link below to watch the full playlist. Lighting is one of the biggest problems makers struggle with. So if you want to learn how to find, modify, and capture natural light for your space and your product, check out my light challenge. I'll drop a link in the description below this video. And if this is your first time joining me, hey, I'm Christina Nicole, product photography coach for makers. The way you have to set up your light is going to depend on a couple different things. It's going to depend on the type of light that you have available to you. It's going to depend on where your setup is and how it's done. And it's also going to depend on the type of light that you're looking to achieve, whether it's soft and even, minimal shadows, whether you want hard, defined shadows. It's really going to depend on the look you are going for. For this specific image, I'm looking to kind of emulate window light coming into a nursery. It's hitting the wall, but I don't want it to be too harsh. I want there to be some shadows so that we can see the depth and dimension within this image, because it is dimensional with the shelf and all of the different props that we have on the shelf. My current light is very direct. It's very harsh. I have a huge window going across the left side of the setup, and I have sunlight. It's a bright sunny day coming into that. So I have a lot of light available to me right now. And that's super important, because more than likely to soften the light that's hitting the left side of the image and to reduce those shadows, we're going to need multiple layers of diffusion. Now, if you're starting with a cloudy day, or if you don't have direct sunlight coming into your window, you may need less diffusion to achieve the same results that I'm going to work with today. So when you're doing a light setup, there's three things you need. Light, obviously. The second is going to be a diffuser. This is a transparent material, and what that does is it not only softens the harshness of the light, but it also increases the perceived size of the light source, reducing shadows. Third thing you're going to need is a reflector. I recommend just a white foam board. That's what this is here. White foam board. And what that's going to do is it's going to reflect the light coming in from the left side. It's going to hit the reflector and bounce back onto the right side, which is going to help even out our light source. Now, you notice that I also have a window here. I have the blinds closed. I have the curtains closed because I want to work with side light. As I mentioned, I want to emulate light coming through a window and hitting this nursery wall. To create the most realistic look, we want to block this light here, not only so that it doesn't fill in and kind of reduce those shadows. We're not going to have light coming from the ceiling per se in a bedroom unless we have overhead lighting on, which that's a whole slew of other issues. So this is going to create the most realistic look. So this light is blocked. We're working with this one light source over here. So the first thing we're going to do is evaluate the light that we have available to us. So we've got a high intensity of light over on the left side here, and the right side, there's not this huge fall off from light to dark. More than likely because of the way my house is set up. I've got all those windows that way too, and I do have them open. Some fill light is spilling in and kind of filling in that side as well. So if you don't have any kind of light, any open windows on that side of your setup, you're probably going to see a much more defined increase from light to dark. Shadows are a little hard. Everything's just a little harder than I want it to look. I want it to look a little softer so we can kind of have that dreamy component of a nursery. So the first thing that we're going to start with is a diffuser. And I recommend, this is called a 5-in-1 reflector. It comes with 5 different components. This is the center component and it's a diffuser. As you can see my hand through it, this is a transparent material. It's going to filter the light. It's going to, I'm actually going to hang it up here. I'm clamping it on. This is just a light stand and a clamp. I'll move out this way because I want to actually show you the shift that's going to happen when I put this on the left side. So what this is going to do is it's going to take the harshness of the light down. So it's going to even the light out a little bit more, not make it so apparent on the left. And then it's also, because it is scattering the light, it's making the appearance of the light larger, which is going to reduce the intensity of the shadows as well. So let's go ahead and put this in here. Look at that shift happen. Now, one important thing that I want to mention here, when you cannot put your setup next to the window, because typically standard diffuser goes in the window, you put your setup close to the window. If you cannot get your setup close to the window because it's much larger, you need to take your diffusion and you need to bring it closer to your setup. The closer you bring the diffuser to your setup, the softer the shadows are going to be. So I can put it in this window and I can decrease the intensity of the light, but watch as I move closer. Watch the shadows around the trees, especially as I move this diffuser closer to the actual setup. Okay, so I'm going to start with step 1. I'm going to add diffusion. 1 layer of diffusion at this point. And we're going to reevaluate our setup. Okay, we still have some harshness. I could try to put an extra layer of diffusion in the window to reduce that harshness. I'm trying to see where it's coming from. Probably not going to be the best option. So for me, because I want to make it kind of large, I am going to pull these curtains back. Keeping in mind that watching the computer as I did that probably wasn't a true sign of what was actually going on because my body was also blocking the light as I was moving. Okay. I'll be real honest with you, I'm still not impressed with the high intensity we have to the left here. I really want the light to be nice and even so it kind of gives off this soft nursery vibe, but I want there to still be shadows hitting the wall to show that depth and dimension. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually take this diffuser, it's a little smaller, but I'm going to add it to this one. Now again, keep in mind, I have an epic amount of light. I have a ton of light. So if you don't have this much light available to you, 1 layer of diffusion may do plenty well. Where I am using 3 layers just to get that left side kind of evened out. And then now our shadows are a little softer as well. So we're going to move on to the next step, which is adding reflection into our setup. So you just want something that's pure white. You want it to be as large as your setup. That's the other key factor when we're shooting these bigger setups. We need bigger diffusers and we need bigger reflectors, okay? You want your reflector and your diffuser to be larger than your setup. So let me go ahead and take that out again quick. This is probably not going to be a huge difference. It's just going to fill in. Let's put it back in so we can notice those shifts. Just going to fill in a little bit more light on this right side. You'll also notice that everything is parallel. So our diffusers are directly left of the setup. Our reflection is directly right of the setup. This is what we call side light. It is going to bring out the texture and the depth and dimension of the photo as well. Side light produces those shadows that kind of come off the side, which really makes things look dimensional. One more thing I'm going to do real quick is sometimes we can add an additional layer of reflection. One thing that's important to me is I'm going to show a little bit of this wall underneath the shelf. So I'm actually going to try to reflect some light back onto that part. And the reason I want to do that is because we have, if you look at the shadows, our light is pretty, like I said, straight on coming from the left, kind of at a catty corner here. And that's present in our shadows because they're directly next to the product. They're not higher, they're not lower. Okay, so that means based on that, and this is how we create our realism, based on that, that means our light would be coming in and would be hitting under this shelf as well. So we're gonna use this reflector here, and this is just a trifold white foam. We'll use that. And so any light coming in this window is gonna hit it and it's gonna reflect back onto the under part of that setup. So we're just trying to make the image look as realistic as possible based on the desired look that I am going for, which is a soft, even light with a little bit of shadowing to really bring out the depth in this photo. Once your light is dialed in, the last thing you want to do is take 100 photos and still not get the one you need. In the next video, I'll walk you through exactly how I shoot, how I set up my tripod, what camera settings I use, and the little tricks I use to make sure I get it right the first time. Click below to watch the full playlist if you want to catch the full process from start to finish. See you next time.